Thank you for coming to this session. Just a brief introduction of myself. I'm Fabio Marzella. I'm the co-founder of the XAO.DAO and also a board member on the XRPL Foundation. My background, just to give you an indication, it's not tech, it's not coding, it's purely community-based. Okay, so back in my young days, I've always been dealing with the community environment, and the reason of that is because I knew that communities need help. Doesn't matter what form of business or what form of association. So the XAO.DAO was virtually, it's close to my heart because obviously I know that there is some issues out there and I'll go through with you. But the idea of the XAO.DAO is virtually to make the Web3 developers have some sort of a platform, somewhere they can feel supported and they can grow with that environment, knowing that they've got someone behind them. The mission of the XAO.DAO is basically to connect the developers with mentors, investors, and also to virtually mentoring when they have to launch their product to market. So, and you'll see the next slide is the problem that we're having in this ecosystem. And you probably correct me if I'm wrong. I can put my hand up if you think that that's not the case. So the problem that we face is we found there that developers virtually not having support, they're looking for other chains. Other chains eventually can support them. That's one big issue. The second issue is also the investors. So the investors can't see what projects are available. Hence, they move also the funds off the XRPL and go somewhere else. So we want to make sure that the builders have got somewhere where they can be supported. And at the moment, that does not exist yet. So that's the mission that I was mentioning before. We are going to develop a DAO that encompasses all this, that we can virtually connect the developers with the venture capitalists, with mentors, with marketers, with accountants, somewhere that virtually they can feel comfortable that from A to Z, they virtually will be supported right through and through. As I mentioned before, that was virtually the problem we're facing with the venture capitalists not being able to virtually provide us any funding to developers. I'll just skip to the next one. And this is virtually what we're working on. So the XAO.DAO is currently in the process of developing the governance and the voting structure of it. And there is another part of the DAO that we've been developing to virtually do these connections with the developers, which is called the XAO Hub. And I'll go through there afterwards, but I'll leave also some time for questioning because it's important to understand how the governance side of things works. Excuse me. So this is virtually our values. You know, decentralized, accessibility, empowerment, signal over noise. We want to virtually support every single project that comes through the DAO. We want to make sure that if the proposals are not approved, there is a reason behind it, and the developer will know why they haven't been approved, and maybe go back to the drawing board, fix this issue, and repropose it again. Because at the end of the day, you guys got the brains, I've got no idea, but I know how to virtually provide something to a venture capitalist or to a marketer to get that proposal approved for you. So this is virtually who the XAO.DAO is for. So you virtually got the developers, you got the VCs, you got the community, and we got the organization, collaboration, we're not competition. This is what's going to make us different. Only coordination-focused initiative on the XRPL. The ecosystem is backed, neutral, inclusive, and non-competitive. And it's built to scale, not to gatekeep. We've launched the landing page of the XAO.DAO and the governance side of it. That's what it is, and I will ask you to go ahead and virtually log in and put your details. I'll go into a little bit more details as to the governing part of the DAO. So the DAO, the way it's going to work is you become a member of the XAO.DAO. We made a very small amount of membership, which is $10 or the equivalent of 10 US dollars or XRP. And we'll accept XRP or RLUSD. The good part about being a member of the DAO and considering like a corporate, you become a shareholder. Once you become a shareholder, you also will benefit from profits. So the XAO.DAO become profitable. At the end of each financial year, there will be a portion of those funds that will go back to the members. Now you probably say, okay, the voting, it's always been unbiased. Whoever's got more XRP usually wins, right? So we've actually managed to actually cap the voting structure. So we kept it at 0.05% of the total value of the membership XRP held in those wallets, which means that the majority of whales have only got so much that they can actually cap and vote. We actually want a lot more of individuals to come through and actually be able to vote. And that applies also to the profits. So the profits are kept, which means that even the small fish, if you want to call it that way, will eventually get something in return. So your $10 eventually will be repaid possibly in the first year of profits that the XAO.DAO makes. The good thing about membership, it's not renewal membership, it's for life. So you only pay once, and you eventually carry on. So we also got the new X account, which is virtually on the screen, XAO.DAO LLC. Again, if you follow that, you will get to know all the ins and outs and how we're progressing through the progress of the initiation of the app. This is virtually like a sample for dashboards for proposals. So you can see on the right-hand side, the right-hand side is virtually your proposals. So we made it quite simple for people to understand how it works. And on the right-hand side is virtually the results. So you've actually got a consensus of 50% or above gets approved. The middle one virtually didn't get the 50% consensus, so it's virtually declined, and the bottom one virtually didn't get any voting whatsoever. So we made that sort of quite clear. But again, I emphasize that any projects that for whatever reason don't get to this stage, they will be assessed by a committee to make sure that every single project has got a chance to be on there. I know I'm sort of speeding through this because I know there's probably a lot of questions that you may want to ask. So I'll finish it off now, and I'll put the questions back to the crowd. If you don't feel comfortable to speak on the microphone, please come and talk to me off channels. Thank you very much. Anyone got a question? Yep, gentleman there.
Thanks. Okay, so what you're trying to do is you're trying to sort of create a platform where developers and investors can sort of interact, right? So I'm just wondering though, I mean, where does the assessment come into play? Is it the members themselves decide? And if that's the case, have the members got the necessary expertise to assess the developers?
Correct. So the members are the only one that virtually are able to assess or approve by voting. So there will be obviously a committee that we will create, which obviously be part of, I guess, expertise to assess the actual project. And once that is assessed, obviously we'll go to voting, and virtually the market will then vote, or the members will vote.
So, sorry, are the members actually investors?
No, the members are just paid members. So it can be individuals, can be or corporation, whatever. That's your $10 or the equivalent of the $10 USD. So that's virtually where the governance part and the voting part is, which is the XAO.DAO. The matchmaking afterwards, which is virtually another app, totally separate from the XAO.DAO. It's the hub, which actually will try to assist developers, venture capitalists to actually work hand in hand together.
Okay, just a 1 second follow-up.
Sure.
And you're not thinking of incorporating AI to make the assessment more fair?
We're open to that. So the good thing about the XAO.DAO, it's community-based. So we've actually created this platform. We will then allow the members to come on board and virtually bring ideas like yourself saying, well, why don't we do this on the AI side of things? Bring in other things or change it. So the XAO.DAO that we've got is the first legal entity registered in the state of Wyoming, and it's the first registered, I guess, entity on the XRPL. So it's an LLC, which means that we are able to make profits, no losses, hopefully, and distribute those profits. So we're recognized. You can open up a bank account, which obviously we have. But if you just open up a normal DAO, obviously you can't. You can't go to the bank and say, oh, I've got a DAO, and signatories, 22,000 people. Well, you can't do that, right? So we've actually got this DAO, which is a legal entity, recognized, obviously, in the eyes of the law of the US.
Okay, thanks.
Pleasure. Thank you. Any other questions? Nope. Okay. Well, you can approach me afterwards. I'll be around for the next day or so anyway. And thank you for coming.